All right, everybody, welcome back to the Ridgeline Hunting Podcast, brought to you by Phelps Game Calls, professional grade game calls made for every hunter.
If you're trying to get close with elk, turkey, predators, or waterfowl, Phelps has you covered.
That's right, so go to phelpsgamecalls.com. Get them close. That's right, get them close with Phelps Game Calls. And today we have Dustin from the Rugged Arts.
That's right, you get me close with a fawn jack.
That's right, you do within a minute.
Yeah, a couple of bleats and I'm here.
Bringing in the predators, huh?
No.
We're getting deep
So bad.
already.
Yeah, that didn't go to that's not what I meant.
You can edit that later.
No, we're good. That's how we roll.
That's quality
Okay.
quality programming.
Yeah.
So before we get started, Dustin, what are you sitting on?
I'm sitting on two cold containers. I believe
of-
they're called coolers.
Speaking of getting them close, we had a little bit of a height disparagement here.
Yeah.
Dustin had a chair that was short. And
No,
he
you
said,
had a footstool in here you wanted me to sit on.
That's my reloading bench stool, so it's a little shorter, so I'm not huddled over the press. He's like, I feel like I'm on a different level than you guys in a bad way. So he put together this little bench he's sitting on, but it's actually two ice chests stacked up, but they're high quality ice chests, you know?
They are. They're super high quality.
What surprises me, if you've ever looked at some of the more high-end coolers out there, but you just can't stomach $500 or more, these Ozark Trails, I bought one of these when I was in a pinch. I was like, you know what, I'm going to go over here and grab one of these. We're going on a trip to Bend, Oregon for, I think, 5 or 7 days. It
Yeah.
was like 102. And we were on the Deschutes River.
Oh, you meant the temperature, not the price.
The price was about the same. So I think it was like 122. But the temperature was about 102 the whole time we were there, and I had 3 bags of ice the whole time. I think on the 5th day, I was like, I better put another bag in here. But that's not bad for being outside 102 for 5 days.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
He called me. He's like, you got to pick up one of these, man.
That's why
like
you're sitting
they're
on
freaking
2,
good.
not 1, but 2 Ozark Trails. I had to get doubled up, man.
You know, when you find a good deal, you got to jump on it.
And I wanted to use one for hunting, but my wife was like, that's our good cooler. So I bought a newer one for us and one for my
Yeah,
for my hunting stuff.
there's been deer and stuff in those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just one of them.
I just have some old igloos from the 70s that, you know, just
Those are probably still just as good.
I got some in there too.
to
you
be
know.
determined.
What happens is the latches break, and then thanks to Amazon now, you can get the latches pretty quick. You know, so the igloo little
Oh, the big
snap
old
latch
white,
one.
the big old white one.
My marine one, like the 52 quart. Yeah.
You know, I've got this aquarium-sized one. It's do-it-yourself. My, like a family member far removed, right, built this thing in, like, the 50s, I think. And it's wood, and they, like, made the cooler interior and everything. And it still works. It's just so heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's empty. And it takes 2 people to move it.
Yeah. And it's just the size of an aquarium. Like you're showing me like a box.
Oh,
I'm
no,
thinking
no.
like a lunch
It's like
box.
the interior is probably this wide, which is probably about 30 inches. And then it's about maybe 18 to 20 inches wide that way. And then it's a good 20 inches deep.
Yeah.
It's a good little cooler.
I bet, man.
I don't use because it weighs so much.
That's a front porch cooler.
Yeah.
Keep the cold
That's
ones
cool.
in there right up handy.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, hey, man, we're bringing you back in. Last time you were here, your book wasn't even released.
Yeah, it was just on the fringe of being officially released, which is so confusing. Like, the whole book thing is so confusing. Like, for instance, okay, so there's this thing I self-published through BookBaby, and the launch was through Amazon, right? And they have a pre-sales period, which is like 8 weeks, okay? I don't get to see any of the sales from those 8 weeks until I won't get to see any numbers, really solid concrete numbers, until February.
Oh, wow.
And they're like, surprise.
Yeah, they're like, oh, you sold $100. Like, oh, cool. I can only see for sure 32 when I checked yesterday, for sure on Amazon, and then like 4 on Bookshop. And if any sold through Barnes & Noble, I don't see those numbers at all. Like, I won't see the first final numbers until the second week of February.
So what you need, it sounds like, You need the same system that Florida uses to count votes, because you got the Arizona system. The Arizona one won't ever let you know. You don't even know if you got books out there. You're like, what the heck?
We need this. That's Anyway, so it's horrible. What I can see is reviews on Amazon, and I have 4. And so if anybody's listening, go review the book.
Yeah, let's get it hooked up.
Let me know what you think. Because that helps, future purchases, or helps people that might purchase it decide whether or not they want to purchase it. So,
yeah, reviews are kind of one of those things. So with my business, we have reviews too online, and what I found out is you have hundreds of customers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And none of them will say anything.
Right.
And you get like 10 reviews, and you're like, damn, I'm so proud of these 10 reviews. They're good reviews. And then, some platforms, they'll like, oh, these aren't really good reviews because these people only reviewed one time. They don't review restaurants. They don't do all this other stuff, so they'll take them off.
What?
Like, what? Yeah, I won't mention.
Is there
I won't mention their name.
Reviewers?
Yes, yeah. There's an app system that does that, and it's a paid service to be listed in there, without having other people top post your content with their own advertisement. So I was doing that, but they don't count those reviews. And in the construction trades, it's hard because you get these people like one time in 7 or 8 years, or
Oh yeah, one and done almost.
So what I'm thinking is, like, if you have 4 reviews, I would say if there was a ratio, maybe you look at like 20-1,
right?
Or people that are reading books, maybe their reviews. Like I'd be curious what the ratio of people that read a book to review a book is, and then kind of get yourself a ballpark.
Right.
But anyway, I don't know if that is feasible or anything. But
I would even say if you purchase the book outside of Amazon, still go on there and put your review in.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like I was telling people, initially that you couldn't leave a review unless you bought the book through Amazon. But
Nope.
I found out that's not the case.
That is definitely not true.
You can leave a review. I found it out recently.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to have bought anything from Amazon in order to review it online.
Nice. So we did have. I don't want to jump off subject, but we were talking about something earlier where we had a podcast we were talking about for the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
Set up.
Yeah. Dustin was actually waiting for it.
People were waiting in the wings. Yeah. Me and Michael Schrantz, we recorded an awesome episode, and it was going to be 2 parts, but when we went to review it, it didn't record his audio.
Supposedly.
Oh no,
it didn't.
We
It didn't. It's just Dave talking for and it's really only like 2 minutes, and then it goes for about 20 minutes, and there's silence.
Right, because the other guy's talking.
Right, and you. Oh man, Dave was very frustrated.
Oh, I would have been.
He was very frustrated, and I was like trying to scramble to like try to see if there was like a separate file or something like that, because I had my laptop here and I'm trying to find everything, and he was slamming stuff around. Like
I was building that. Yeah, I was building at the same time.
But it was a very
forcefully. Looks amazing for being frustrated.
Yeah, it was very forcefully. I had already left, so he was kind of already like,
yeah.
I'm like, dude, it's not here. And he's like, what? No way.
I was like, look a little bit differently, man.
I know what that's like. I've spent hours like editing a video just to go and export it, and it didn't export properly and lost all the work.
This is not my first time actually doing something like that. So
it's frustrating, but this gentleman's in the military, so he's gone in the next few weeks. So we're gonna have him back on, do the podcast. Hopefully, I'll be able to sit on in this one because
we need somebody to run the board.
Yeah, I guess.
Technical committee.
Dave is fully capable of doing it.
I don't know what the hell happened. I was looking at it just like this, and
the levels are probably there and everything, but
who knows?
It is what it is.
But
we'll get him back on.
It could have been simply that like a jack was only like half in, or like just barely, so it didn't catch the mic.
Could have, and it was just going through his microphone, so he was seeing the level, but it wasn't actually like picking it up. But it is what it is. I mean, things happen, but we're definitely going to have this gentleman back on, tell his story. It's extremely good. Dave's actually heard it twice because he actually talked to him on the phone, and then he was like, "We got to do a podcast. This is excellent." And it just didn't happen. Yeah. I mean, you're in podcasting as well. Things happen.
Right.
I've lost an SD card. We have an episode floating around somewhere. I don't even know where it's at.
Your phone call doesn't go as well as you thought it would because of receptions. It's all like,
Yeah. I mean, there's just certain things that happen. I mean, if you're podcasting with someone that's not even in your state, and the reception isn't very well, you're trying to do the best you can to put out the best product that you can, and when it actually starts getting into editing, you're like, this sounds like garbage.
Well, to be fair, you're not quite the JRE level podcast yet. So,
Yeah, geez, no.
When you get there, then you'll have the person that can like Google the information you guys bring up while you're talking about it, so you don't have to.
Yeah, whole different story there.
Yeah, I mean, slowly but surely we'll definitely we'll never get to that
Right.
area. But I mean, we do want to grow this podcast, and we just have a lot of fun with it. It's fun to get our stories out there. This year, a lack of stories from me, just because I've just walked around with a bow in my hand. So,
But that's
the scenery was great.
Yeah, there's still a story there. It's not taking a shot at 485 yards or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was 485. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I mean, there's still stories there. There's just not.
It's just like one of those things, though. It's like, man, if I shot my rifle as much of I like shot my bow,
yeah,
I could probably shoot 1,200 yards.
I mean,
I wouldn't ever take a shot at an animal that far, but
yeah,
dude, I shoot my bow a lot. But that's a different story.
right. It's
So-
cheaper too.
Well, the arrows, yeah. So with the book, how is everything going? Like, what has been like your feedback, or?
No, I'm
What
glad.
have you learned through this process?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so lots of questions there. We'll start with the what have you learned? I learned that I liked that I enjoy the writing process so much so that I know for sure I want to write another book. It's just kind of like I have a couple ideas and I don't know which one I want to narrow it down and pursue more. So there's choices there, and I know I'm going to write another one. I just don't know which one and how soon it'll be out. So, but it's that part of it was illuminating because I didn't even plan on writing one book, let alone, okay, now I know I'm going to do another one. As far as how the book is doing, so I do know that it has sold since its official release. It's sold at least 32 copies. I know it's at least double that on Amazon, and I've given out 20 copies to various people, including yourselves, to try and push the product out there and make people aware of it. Some of the comments I've gotten about it have been really awesome. I've only gotten really one comment that was not. It was very disingenuous, and that's on Amazon. It's that one that basically likens the book to a high school term paper, and I don't know if that guy knows, but I wrote a really good high school term paper. My senior project was spot on. But anyways,
Everybody's gonna have their negative feedback on something.
well, and
It's just one of those
right?
things. Yeah, and people can have an opinion, and for me, that wasn't my opinion.
Right. And like, so for instance, my aunt, she didn't even want to look at it because she doesn't do anything hunting related.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird, but whatever. Okay, that's cool. But my cousin, she's reading it with her daughter, and she said after the first chapter, Genevieve was like super stoked about it and was like, "Man, it was so descriptive. I felt like I was there, Mom." And which is really cool because they're not a hunting family per se. They fish, they do outdoorsy stuff. They jeep and things like this, but they're not hunters. So for her to get stoked about like the story, which is what I wanted people to get excited about. I'm not trying to turn anyone into outdoor hunters or indoor hunters. Anyways, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to turn anyone into hunters. I was just trying to connect with people and spark conversation between people.
That's important, man. Even the bad review, I've had reviews, and you kind of it doesn't matter what it is. There's always somebody, right? So I have a little invention I won't mention, but have a patent pending on it.
Right.
It's in the final review process. So almost every claim that we made has been granted by the USPTO at this point. There's one we're disputing that was not awarded. But that one should be awarded, and the attorneys are disputing it. So you get reviews. There's always one person in the back. I wouldn't buy that thing. I just do it like this. And you're like,
Sure.
great, we've done that. We've been doing that. Like everybody knows how to do that, but this is a better way. Or you're communicating something to people and you want them to understand, what it was like for me. Like, here's my story. And people can't go, your story's garbage. It's like
that's my story.
But, yeah.
Right.
So that's really what happened. I mean, literally, we watched The Green Mile and Shawshank Redemption and, all these other movies and stuff. And like anybody could have said something negative, even though the storylines were good.
Yeah.
Like, those were criminals. Like, okay, great.
Right.
There's still a story there. So enjoy it for what it is, regardless, and take the bad and just let it roll, man. Because people are a lot of times they're just jaded and nasty.
Well, some people just do that just to do it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it was just.
They probably have a book called The Anti-Hunter.
I don't know. Their handle was K Hunter, so I doubt that. But
Kill hunters. Gotcha.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But whatever, like I said, everybody's entitled to their opinion, right, wrong, or indifferent. It's just wasn't expecting it so soon.
Yeah, it usually happens first thing, man.
Yeah.
Like
but I mean,
your wind out of yourselves.
Here's the other thing though, is that the community that you are surrounded by, like your friends and family and the people that you gave the book to, what was their response?
I mean, they all love it.
And that's the one that counts.
Yeah, there's a couple people out there that are that I haven't heard from yet, so like that I'm kind of like eager to find out, because I sent the book on to some people in the industry. Like I sent one to Aaron Snyder. He said, "Hey, thanks for the book." That was kind of cool. Whether or not he likes it, that was just kind of cool. I sent one to Steven Ranella. I sent one to Donnie Vincent. I don't know if you guys.
Oh yeah, I know Donnie. Yep.
You didn't send it to Mr. Waddy?
But no, what was really cool about sending it to Donnie was the gal that runs his stuff. She got back to me. She's like, "Look, so we got the book. He'll have it when he gets back, but he's like solid booked through the end of the year." And I was like, "That's cool. I'm not expecting, anything in return. I just wanted him to have it."
Yeah.
I really appreciate everything he does for the hunting community, and I felt like, I just wanted to show him my appreciation for what he does. So, no, everybody that I have met that has read it, whether, pre-publishing or post-publishing, has enjoyed it, whether it be in part or whole. They've all enjoyed some aspect of the book. So that's always encouraging, even though the sales aren't like great or amazing. It's still early in the publishing process. Like, it just came out in October. So, and here we are in November, like technically released in October. So, there's a lot of time, and I'm an unknown artist or an unknown author. So, there's always that reluctancy to spend money or to invest your time in something that you don't even know the credibility behind, as far as the author's in relation to the author.
Is there a digital copy available, like on?
You can ebook it, yeah.
Oh, okay, that's
It's
cool.
also available on Amazon and Bookshop and Barnes and Noble.
So you can get paperback or you can digitally download it.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, the digital downloads, that's pretty handy.
Mm.
You could do it anytime, but
I want to do an audio version, but it's not cheap. Like any way you get around it, even if you do it yourself, as far as I can figure out, there's still a cost to it. And in my mind, I don't know why I thought that like that would be
the cheapest.
Yeah, the cheapest. But if you go through Audible, which is a part of Amazon now, or has been for a while, you can hire somebody to do it, and then you figure out the payment, whether it's an upfront fee or if it's like a percentage of the royalties or whatever. BookBaby finally just came out with the fact that they are doing Audible books as well, in helping people publish their Audibles. But it's not cheap, in my opinion. It's not like it might be affordable for some, but for me, it's not.
What kind of numbers are we looking at here?
So, have them do everything. So okay. So I should articulate that some of the stuff I don't have to do because my book I already have a manuscript made, right? I already have a title or a cover, an ISBN, which is the barcode. I already have like 90% of what I need. All I need is the book transcribed in Audible version, right? So for me, it would cost me $7.99 to do it.
So if Morgan Freeman's listening to this,
$799
Yeah, $800
just to transform it from a book into
Audible.
to audio file,
Yeah,
and then publish it on the site.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
And what do the books go for?
now, so that's the cool thing, though.
On Amazon.
Audibles sell for quite a bit, actually, because you're taking more of your time to actually read the book, or you're hiring somebody to read it for you. So, I could expect to see like $24 an Audible. Like, so if you bought my Audible, it'd cost you $24 instead of $18.99 for the paperback.
Yeah.
You could charge a little bit more, but you recoup that money. But if you don't have all that other stuff, like the cover page, the ISBN, and all that, then it's $1,000. I think it's $1,100.
That's not too much different, but what I would do personally, from a non-author's perspective, is see what happens with the sales of the book, man, and then go from there. And when you get the money back from the sales, reinvest that money into an audio version because you're going to capture more market anyway.
Right.
Like a lot of people.
And then a lot of it is word of mouth, man. Because it
Marketing
might,
is huge.
it might start off slow,
Right.
but then once people start finding out about the book and this and that, I mean, boom, it might just skyrocket out of. If Steven Ranella gets on his podcast and says, "Hey, I just picked up this book one time,"
He's going to send you an invoice.
Yeah.
he will.
He's like $13.99. You're like, oh shit!
what the heck is this
I
for?
paid $1,400. Said like 3 words.
No, that would be
good.
cool.
No, if it's good,
Yeah.
bad, or indifferent, or whatever.
Yeah, just the name.
He says that he picked that up and read it.
Yeah,
Hey, man, you never know.
never know.
You never know.
Never know. Could be good, could be bad. Who knows?
Yeah, whatever.
But speaking of finding out about the book, so there is an event coming up. The Archery World Classic is the first weekend of December, so it's the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of, so not this weekend, but the following weekend.
Mm-hmm.
They're having an indoor tournament, and I will have a booth at the tournament all weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we'll be selling the book, and I'll be doing autographs.
Archery World in Lacey?
Yep.
Okay.
Lacey out there by Cabela's.
Yeah, so if you're out in Washington, you want to go and check out the book, or even just go and have fun at the shoot, check out Archery World in Lacey, and Dustin will be there, and he'll be all set up, and go and check it out.
Is that an indoor, like a multicolor or 3D, or what is it?
No,
Blueface?
it's a 3-spot, but it's a vertical, not
Vegas.
not the multicolor, which is the triangle.
Yeah.
So, it's still multiple colors. Like you
There's
have
rings,
a yellow, a red, and a blue. But it's not like when you say multicolor, it's a different style target. It's usually a shape of a diamond.
Yeah.
As far as the orientation of each target.
Yeah.
So, it's at 20 yards, and there'll be all kinds of shooters there. Turners will probably be there. If you guys aren't aware, Joel Turner, Bodie Turner,
Yeah, I'm out.
they're amazing.
tell you what,
shooters.
man.
I don't like taking second to those guys.
I like to,
Be lucky if you finish in the top 10. to be honest.
I remember, we might have talked about this before, but Bodie Turner started shooting, when he was a baby, really.
Yeah, he was still in diapers.
He was wearing these little coveralls. It was cute as hell. And Joel was walking around the course with him. We all shot the same place.
Yeah.
And, seeing him grow up and the things he's accomplished at his age, that's pretty impressive. But he has shot forever, and he has a really excellent teacher. So his father has been he's taught Joe Rogan and you name it. He's probably taught Jocko Willink and all these famous people, like how to go through his shot
He's done
process
it right
with shot
down there
IQ.
in Lacey.
Oh yeah. He's
So
he's held shot IQ.
What was it?
He's held classes there before.
Yeah.
But yeah, he trained some people to shoot, and imagine having that as an everyday mentor every time you go out and shoot. So here's what I'm going to do. If I'm down there and they're shooting, I might have an intentional miss, but I'm going to hit their target. So there's another spot on the outside of that dot, man, because it's just going to be a quarter size hole in the middle of that paper. That's a joke.
I'll watch you do it, but I'm not doing it.
That's a joke. And I'll say it was him. He did it. I'll point over.
Yeah. So Joel Turner, he teaches shot IQ. He also has a long gun version of that course now.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
kind of cool and exciting. That's new. He travels all over the world,
Mm-hmm.
which is really cool.
Hopefully, we can actually get him on this podcast. Oh,
I will bet you
Joel.
he'd be more than willing to sit down with you because he's very receptive to that stuff.
Yeah. He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not like best buds or nothing, but
yeah. He probably doesn't even remember my name, but I just remember taking a lot of seconds behind that guy. And then I was like, dude, why don't you shoot like trad or something? And he's like, all right, I'll shoot trad on your stakes.
Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah.
And he still outscored me.
Yeah. He's
Like
amazing.
this guy, he's a freak.
Yeah, funny. One of the funniest things we'd ever done. Originally, when Joel won the World Elk Calling Championship in like, it must have been, had to been like 2007 or back in the day a little bit. He had this video. Have you seen the video of his elk training?
I don't know.
Elk calling
Maybe
seminar?
on YouTube.
Oh, I think I have.
So we like this is like pioneering calling, right? Like it was the Jacobsons forever. Rocky had won. Corey had won. Here comes Joel. Joel wins. This is back. I mean, before Phelps was even a call company,
Right.
and so, there's this back and forth. Joel wins, and then this guy from Graham comes in, and I don't even know where they went, Wyoming or something, and he won this thing, Colorado. And so we were in Rainier Archery, which is no longer in existence, but everybody would hang out there. It was a big Matthews shop. Back then, they didn't really have like cross-line selling. Like Matthews and Hoyt would not be in the same store. It was just different. So if you want a Matthews, go to Rainier Archery. You want a Hoyt, go to Great Northwest. If you want out the box, Bella's, Bass Pro, wherever. So custom bow shop. You go in there, and there he is calling. You're like, what's he doing? But he does this thing with his mouth where it's like wide open like this, or his lips. He's like, guess what, folks? Elk don't have lips, so he pretends like he doesn't have anything. And he's calling, and we were like, holy crap! Light bulb moment, right? we're like, huh? And then my buddy goes, how do I look? Ha! And we're like, we all started laughing. We're like, dude, close your lips. You just seen his teeth sitting there in this little call, and it sounded crazy, but it takes a little practice. But once you get it down, it makes a lot of sense, and it does change the tone.
Oh, the pitch is way different.
sure it does.
I do that a lot.
Yeah, intentionally focus on that. So,
Right.
But what makes that even easier is the Phillips Easy.
An
the
easy sucker? Yeah.
Dude,
I've seen,
those things
seen
freaking
you
work,
using it,
man.
and that one
They work.
video keeps
Well, I didn't
posting.
bring in any elk this year, but
Did you bring in a couple hunters?
all the hunters,
Then you know it works.
all of them.
Yeah.
Yep, it was actually frustrating. I started throwing stuff at people, bark off trees.
They probably thought you were a squatch.
yeah,
It
right.
was funny, but yeah, it was a good time.
Speaking of hunting, how was your guys' early season?
I think we've talked about this pretty much
Yeah.
3 or 4 times. It was pretty
It was-
good. I mean, I'm not tired
Dave
of talking about it at
got
all.
on elk.
I'm not tired of talking about it at all. I'm ready to
You
go.
did.
He got on elk.
Yeah.
My buddy and I did not,
Right.
but we were like in the same vicinity of a herd.
There you go. So you're in the neighborhood. You just
Yeah.
didn't happen to be on the same street.
Yeah.
Right. That's what you mean.
hmm
That's a
I was
good
on
analogy.
Sesame Street with
know,
these other
I'm like a
freaking hunters.
professional over here.
Now that I think
Started
about
bringing in.
We were on elk every time, like we would go somewhere.
Right.
And then we'd be like, call Dave. Hey, Dave, come on up here. There's elk up here. And he'd show up and they would walk off. Like, I'm like, why has he got garlic around his neck? What's going on here?
Loud with him.
Something is pushing him off, man.
Yeah.
It's the what they call nowadays the vibes, the energy is. I don't know.
Was it the newbie?
You're putting
Was
up.
it Mikey P?
Might have been
Might have been.
something.
No,
something
it wasn't it, because I saw so many animals in one day in like 2 minutes with that dude.
Didn't shoot any of them.
Oh, I shot at one.
Oh, right.
I missed.
Okay. Hey, I did that too.
Yeah, I shot
In
at
the
one.
early season.
We had a bear, 2 does,
Yeah.
bull elk,
Right.
and then 2 more does came in, all within like a couple minutes. It was intense.
Miracle minute,
Sounds like
man.
a party.
It was intense.
So I saw a guy get surrounded by elk. Like, no joke. We're walking a tree line, and these elk came in. Okay? I'm talking like 20 head. A couple 6x6s. Some big dudes. I was really excited. I wanted to stay next to him. but he got like tunnel vision, and he can't hear very well, like at all. Like if I whisper, he's not hearing it, and I can't yell because they'll just all take off, right? So he gets into it, and he's just like laser focused, and he puts himself unwittingly in the middle of all these elk to the point where like he can't move. Now he has to be a rock because if he moves, they'll take off. So he sees this cow at what he thought was 40 yards, right? And he draws back and he shoots. And mind you, I can't see this because I held back and they're coming in, and I knew if I followed right behind him, it'd spook him out. So I had to hold up. So I held up and I can't see him anymore. And they're peeling off this way to my left also, but deep in the trees. Like I can't get a range because all the bushes are in the way.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how far I'm taking a shot if I take a shot. I'm like, man. Now I'm conflicted. I don't know which way to go. Do I go right and follow him? Do I go left and follow these? Like, I don't know what's going on. I'm a little frustrated because you can't hear me. So I hear whap. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. All right. So he must have got one, right? I'm thinking, yeah, he must have got one because then they all boogie out, right? I'm like, okay, cool. So he comes back. And I'm like, did you get one? He's like, no. Well, what do you mean no? They were like around you. How did you not get one? It's like, I shot it for 40 and went over its back. I'm like, really? Okay. So we're talking.
Is it at like 15?
Dude. I said, okay, so we're talking about it later. I said, okay. Show me where the elk was about, approximately, like pointing at a tree or whatever. So he points at this tree. I'm like, dude, that was like 22 yards. And he's like, really? I'm like, get your rangefinder out. He ranges it. He's like, yeah, that's like 23, 24 yards. I'm like, yeah, that's not 40 yards, bro.
Dude, even at 30, he still would have hit it.
He would have. That's why I missed a deer at 15. Because I had my range. I had my, I shoot a single pin, right?
Yeah.
And I've been talking about switching to a fixed, like multi-pin fixed, right? So I had my dope set. I'm thinking, okay, big animal coming in, 30, I'm a win. 40, I'm a win. I'm in that window.
Yeah.
My yardage. I'm like, it's not going to move that much. Okay. So it's getting like last light, right? Like I can hear the brushes breaking and the twigs snapping, and it's getting close. I'm like, this is going to happen. I'm looking. I'm like, I should be able to see this thing. I'm expecting elk. Like as close as I can hear it, it should be right in front of me. Where is it? This little tiny 2-point pops out like your rack up there. This little tiny.
Why you gotta say that, man?
Huh? No, I'm
That's so
not poking
disrespectful.
fun at it.
You're pointing right at my trophy elk deer here. Jeez.
I'm just saying. That's how big it was. I'm not making fun of it. I shot at it, remember?
Oh, this is something. Oh, deer, you missed. Got it.
So I without even thinking about adjusting my sight or anything, I was like, okay, here we go. I'm getting a deer. It's the last day of early season. I'm like, okay, this is gonna happen. Cool. I didn't get an elk, whatever, but I'm about to slay a deer. Okay, and that's the mistake I made, people. I did not pay attention to my process. Joel Turner would probably smack me in the back of the head right now. I went on autopilot, and you shouldn't do that.
Forgot your ABTs.
Yeah, exactly. So, I drew down. I put my pin right on the money spot, pulled the trigger, and it went right over his back. I knew as soon as that arrow left, and it went right over, and he ducked a little, but he didn't duck the arrow. It was so close. It was just, I overshot and hit a tree, and I was like, oh. He turned left, like did a U-turn, went back like 5 yards, hung behind a bush that I know was 20 yards, okay? But he's full frontal at me behind this bush. And it's getting dark to the point where, like, you're doing this to see if, like, you're seeing what I'm seeing, like I'm blinking my eyes, like, okay, can I trust what I'm seeing right now? And I'm looking at my pins, and I can see my pins, or pin, I should say, but I can't read my tape. So I'm like, I can't see where 22 is on my tape, or 20 or whatever.
Because it's all just blurring together.
It's all just kind of blurring in the now what could be considered darkness, right? So I'm like, I could still see that pin, though, the fiber optic. I'm like, could I do it? So I draw back, pin's gone. I'm like, no, I can't take this shot. Like, I can't see him good enough. He's behind a bush. I don't know exactly how far away he is. I can't even see my pin. So, lucky little 2-point gets to live to see another year.
Yeah, Dang, man.
Yeah.
No rifle season.
So when I said ABTs, did you know what I was saying?
I thought you meant always be tinkering.
No.
Like an elk shape.
No. Always be thinking.
Oh.
So
No, that makes sense.
That's the one.
I just call it a checklist.
Yeah.
Like when I'm at the line, when I'm doing an indoor competition, I've got stance.
Yep. Feet. Yeah, I do the same thing.
Stance.
That's
and
great.
I do arrow. I do light.
I skip.
I have a lighted sight. So light, release. So I clip my release in. And then I go target. I look at the target. And then draw, settle, and then just aim as I'm like focusing on the target, which is basically the watch it to keep it process of Joel Turner's shot process. And then the shot should be a compressed surprise break. Off.
So mine was always, I skipped all the bow mechanical things because I knew I needed an arrow and all that stuff, right? So I wasn't going to, getting set up for the shot was a given, like getting my arrow, put my release on, hold the bow. But I always was like feet, hips, grip.
Yeah. And
then I'd draw and I'd just be like spot, and that was it. And elbow, and that was it. So I would always try to keep my elbow back.
Right.
So if you creep the elbow, you'd kind of collapse a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
So mine was always like elbow. When I got my elbow, I'm like spot. But I'm thinking those simultaneously.
Right.
If the elbow's going back, I was going to have a pretty good break. But I was never a master at breaking a sear, so I did okay. I killed animals.
Yeah, when I was standing there, I just had I'll do this when I get on a sit. I'll range like a couple of trees, whatever's close, 40, 50 yards, try and get my markers so that when something comes in, I'll know what to adjust my sight to without having to bust the rangefinder out, right? And so I was kind of standing there, and I knew approximately which way the animals would be coming in, and I thought to myself, okay, if they're going to be coming in here, then what's my average range, right? And then so that's what I dialed my single pin to, was the average. I'm like, okay, whether they're that far or this close, I'm going to hit the kill spot. Mm-hmm. So, but with that deer being so much smaller, my window of error grew a lot larger, and I should have, as soon as I saw that deer, or animal period, if we're being honest, I should have been like, okay, how far is it? Yep, okay, 33.
That was my mistake,
too. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That was my mistake, and I have pins.
Yeah.
But mine was, we had all this commotion. Boom, boom, boom. All these animals came in seriously super fast. And all of a sudden, so all that goes away.
Right.
We drew on the bear. We drew on a doe and all this other stuff and just didn't have a shot, let down. Take 15 steps off to our left.
Yeah.
Another doe pops out, and I'm in front of Mike. I'm like, oh, Mike, I'm taking the shot. So I draw back, and I'm like, that's 35 yards.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've done that before.
And just fire, and he goes right over its back. And I'm just like, son of a bee,
I mean, it was 27.
It was.
Right.
Yeah. It was like 26, 27 yards, something like that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my gosh.
That sucks.
And I was like, I turned to Mike, because right when the arrow left, it was high. Like, I knew it was going to miss.
Yeah, the same situation, yeah.
So I turned to Mike, and it, boing, hits the tree, and I'm already, turning to him, don't do that. And he was like, what? And I was like, I didn't range it.
Yeah.
I was like, you can shoot so many 3Ds in your life, and you think you know what the freaking range is.
Yeah.
For me, sometimes it might be off because of it was more or less terrain. I was actually it was an uphill shot, and it looked a lot farther than it was.
Right.
And even in 3Ds, there's a lot of 3Ds that all of us probably shot where there's no rangefinders, and you still stick them.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things that just got away from me, and that might have been it for me this year.
Uh-huh.
You just never know. Late season is starting today.
It always stings a little bit more when you know that it's a shot that you typically nail. You know what I mean? Like 27 yards, you're like, oh, I'm going to drill this. Yeah. I know I'm going to drill it.
Yeah, out to 40 is a layup.
4 inches at 27 yards. Okay, that's easy.
So one problem we have here in this conversation.
Uh-oh.
I gotta cover this because we're talking 3D shooting, hunting scenarios, missing by 5 to 7 yards over the back and stuff. So when I was shooting 3Ds a lot,
yeah,
we would shoot light arrows, we had these little Easton light speeds, or there's ACEs and ACCs. People would use all sorts of little light arrows, because the distance of your arrow's trajectory where it would hit at a target at 30, 40, 50 is different if you had it on a piece of paper. The gap between your top pin and bottom pin out of a really fast light
because
arrow
the speed, because of the speed.
The speed flattens the shot, right? So
Right.
it doesn't have to lob down into the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
that's why I did so good with my Bowtech destroyer that shot 315 feet per second with a hunting grain arrow. It was stupid fast.
The problem is if you shoot 3Ds with a light arrow, go to a hunting grain, because Washington State, 6 grains per pound.
Yep.
Minimum of 45 pounds, I think. I haven't shot the minimum for a while.
Oh, no, it's 40.
I do all my 3Ds with my hunting setup.
So you're just shaking like crazy out there. So my second thought, I always had to put it out there, Dave. No, my second thought is...
No, I don't. I mean, I hunt with the same crap I shoot the 3Ds with, so I just straight up sucked.
Okay, so my second thought, it would be super sweet. So I have a QED Smackdown, I think it is.
For the rest?
My rest.
Yeah.
So as I draw my bow, the string is tied to my limb. It's like a limb driven.
It's limb driven?
Yeah. And it's a Smackdown Pro.
Okay.
So as you draw your bow, that limb moves and it lets the rest raise.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you shoot it, compresses and the rest drops quickly.
Sure.
And there it's out of the way. It's like a suspended arrow, right?
Yeah.
It'd be super sweet if they had another system that when you drew your bow, there's this little box on there. And maybe you have a little mini SD card in there or something. But it has a little wire just like the limb drive.
Yeah.
When you draw your bow, it turns on and it tells how much you're moving and shit.
Yo, they already have that.
For real?
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here.
No. Jesse Broadwater was testing it with somebody. They have it set up to the sight, not in the grip. It has to do with the
Pressure on the grip?
the pressure on the grip during the shot process, and it gauges how much the pin is actually moving around, and they can see like where you get steady and
Is it a camera?
it's floating around.
Or is it like some sort of like little
Man,
vibration sensor?
you'd have to look into it, but
Well, there I am
there's
$1 late
already.
short.
I can tell you right now, I was dead solid because it nailed that tree like a son of a gun.
Well, I wasn't. I missed an elk this year. I probably hit her, but we found a couple dime, smaller than your pinky nail drops of blood over the course of 60 to 80 yards, and that was it.
Yeah.
But I know I was moving.
And
Like, I have no doubt moving because when it stood up.
It's been a while since Dave's been on elk.
yeah,
He
she was
spanks,
pretty-
I
he
usually let-
spanks,
pretty
he spanks deer every
I
year.
usually let
but-
everybody else shoot the elk because I'm usually got a
Yeah,
newer
remember,
guy
he's-
with me. Or
He's level 5. He's just there to take it all in.
that's no shit. Sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna take this one.
Yeah.
So I actually passed up like 3 deer that same day.
Yeah.
Cold could have stone cold stunnered them if I wanted. Just razor them on, put the razor's edge on them. They were right there, and I was like, I'm hunting elk now, and then I'll have plenty of time to shoot a deer, and maybe I'll get a buck. But I just passed on him. But I know I was moving, and I have no doubt in my mind. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pull the trigger on this one, and shit, man, moving. So it'd be nice to see what's actually going on.
Right.
Rather than just be like, I don't know if I was shooting because I shot that for 40 yards, and that's hard to miss at 40 yards on an elk.
Yeah.
Especially when I range found it and it
Yeah.
was 40 yards.
Yeah, they're big animals.
And, but I was moving. And so I'd like to know how much, so it'd be kind of cool if that thing ever gets developed and, is practical to have it set up. Because I would definitely, but I'm on the buyer's list.
Yeah, I don't know if it's commercially available, but I know it's in the works.
Well, they probably use it a lot for tournament archery, because they're,
Because a guy like yourself got curious and he was like, I wonder if there's a correlation between grip pressure and pin movement.
well,
And so he went and got he nerded out on. No, I'm not making offense of nerds because I'm a nerd myself, but I'm just saying he nerded out and built a whole thing.
can you imagine like a hunting show? They got this guy's bow like hooked up with a little sensor, and there's a seismograph, and it's like all fine and steady, and the deer comes out and it's moving all over. You're like,
No,
he's
but-
jacked up.
No, well, I mean, all these training different things, like
Not
as
Fitbit.
a bow hunter,
Yeah.
we're athletes. I don't care. I don't care what you say.
Right.
We're an athlete because we train, we do all these things. So what if you want to take your training to the next level, right?
Right.
Well, that would be a way to take your training to the next level, seeing how much you move while you're taking a shot.
Yeah.
And it's going to be way different on animals than
and
it will
animals,
be with
Go Rocky 2 on it.
Yeah,
all
definitely.
The,
all that
Ivan
stuff.
Drago.
All the sensors.
Yeah,
that bunch of meat. Did you ever watch like Poker Stars and Texas Hold'em on TV?
Oh yeah, yep.
So they had all that stuff. You know, it's like there's like 5 main guys all the time. So you you kind of feel like you got to know them. Yeah, right. Yeah, and they had
he was one of the guys.
They had the brat, or that guy, the poker baby dude, and and then they had all these other characters. But they developed these characters, and then after Texas Hold'em got to be so big, they're like, okay, well, let's make a high stakes. Like these guys are playing for millions of dollars on $10,000 entries, and people are scrambling like, how can I get 10 grand? I need to get to Vegas, and go down there and lose their money. Like, oh, I had so much fun for like 5 minutes. Called my bluff. I'm like, oh yeah, no shit. But they made a TV show where they had these guys betting their actual money, but they had like KGs on.
Oh, what?
So you could see their heart rate when they were bluffing. It was like, and you could watch this in live TV.
Oh, what?
So like when their whole card would come out, they would switch to the heart rate monitor. Oh, here's so-and-so checking the heart rate monitor, and they're checking whole card, and it looks like pocket aces.
Oh, yeah, only the commentators could see it, right? Yeah, I think I saw a couple episodes of that.
Yeah, that was a trip. It'd be kind of cool to see that thing in like the
arcade. See their cards, and I'm pretty sure I caught a couple episodes of that.
That'd be
it'd be fun.
A hunting show.
Yeah, just any type of hunting, because I mean, imagine just someone out coyote hunting, and you're shooting a lot of those suckers when you're out coyote hunting. So,
or it'd be crazy.
That is fun.
Yeah,
hog hunting.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see like the first shot, second shot thing, like on a coyote when they sneak in on you, they run real quick, and you make that first like maybe it's just a snapshot and you miss, your heart's just jacked up. And the second shot, what if you just went like dead calm, flat line, like this man's stone cold?
Yeah,
boom, done.
That'd
be super cool to see on TV.
That would be an interesting thing to see as far as
probably how I was on my first one, but my second one came in super fast, and I was like, "Oh crap, I wasn't ready."
Yeah. That would be kind of cool.
I've seen coyotes out a couple times hunting, and I can say I haven't shot any coyotes.
Oh man,
just because I was always with my sidearm.
You gotta come out with me, man. I got the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm down.
It's super fun. I've never actually like went out coyote hunting. Yeah. Like Dave and I would be out bear hunting or something. All of a sudden, we'll see a coyote and
turns into a coyote hunt.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, isn't that how most predator hunting goes?
Mm.
Well, I wasn't out bear hunting. I was out just scouting. And I was like, oh, I'm just gonna.
Because a lot of those predator calls are just basically generic in the sense that like a rabbit squeal is gonna bring in whatever's gonna eat it.
Yeah. Well, I was out just scouting for bears, and I was like, oh, I'm going to see if I call in something.
Yeah.
Have
you guys...
Coyote.
Yeah, I could have sworn... you guys did a podcast with the Bozeman.
Dave
Bose?
Yeah, the Bose.
Yeah. What's his first name?
Yeah, okay. Oh, it's David, I think.
Dave Bose, right?
Dave, yeah. Dave,
Dan Bose.
Dan?
Yep. What is it?
And we got it wrong.
Man, you're sitting here, you know the answer. So the one thing I'll tell you, right? I did go coyote hunting with my buddy
Daryl.
No,
my buddy's uncle, big time coyote hunter, and he had to call that. I mean, we would use different birds and all sorts of stuff. So they took me out one time before he moved to Arizona, and
you guys want to keep on guessing?
No, go ahead. We don't want to slander his good name.
Yeah, Douglas.
Douglas. Oh God, I knew that. I sent him a book too. I should have known that. God, I'm horrible.
So
I'm sorry, Doug.
We'll have him back on too.
Yeah,
he's an awesome guy.
We are setting up, and my first time, I'm up against a tree. They're like, "Yeah, just go over that way a little bit from the call. Make sure you can still see where it's at and where we're at. So we're all kind of spread out." And then they're like, "You shoot this way." I got down here towards the call. I'm thinking, I want to be facing the freaking call where they're going to come to, And then my buddy's over on the left, and he's watching the other side. They'll come from anywhere. So I got my back to this tree. All of a sudden, I just hear, and this coyote's running in. This is over off 12 up there.
Oh yeah,
yeah, in the hard ground. He's running in. What the hell is that sound? Because I've never had one run that close to me. But literally, and I only had one rifle, 270 WSM. And I didn't even get my sight on that sucker. He was like 5 feet away. I just looked down the barrel. Wow. That sucker turned into Wile E. Coyote. Boom, that fast, man. He left his spirit on the ground. Like, he literally he peeled out so hard. I missed him clean. I mean, he would have been in half if I'd hit him. But, I mean, he had to, his body was over here, his spirit's over here, and he didn't know what direction to go, but he ran and hit a zigzag. Like, you had never seen something zigzag like this, man. But I missed him from 5 feet with a rifle.
I mean, that's
straight up. I mean, I could just point my barrel at him, and I was like, I got your ass. Wham! Missed him clean.
That's funny.
Later on that same day, we set up, and these 2 coyotes came in from down the hill, and I saw them coming up. I saw little heads bobbing over the bush. I was like, oh, shit. They're coming to my side again. So I even had my scope on them ready. I'm like, okay. Now, wham! Missed him clean, too, man. Damn. I suck with a rifle. Everything. I'm BB gun. Them things would have been dead.
Dave does kind of suck.
Really? All right.
Yeah, I think we
It's
need
totally
to go.
new
We need
'cause-
to go shoot.
No,
Maybe you
shooting's
just
fine. I can shoot paper.
Right.
It's just that heart rate thing we're talking about. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like when you get jacked up, because I've always been an archery hunter. You know, it's totally
It's
new.
different. It's different. It is a different feeling completely because it's been a long time since I shot anything with a rifle.
Yeah.
Anything. So my first kill was with a rifle.
Right.
I said that was too easy. Set the rifle down.
Sure.
Got the bow, and it's way different. It's completely different. So then this year I was like, man, I want to start hunting with my rifle more.
Right.
And yeah, it's a completely different feeling.
Right.
And little minute movements. I mean, with an arrow, you're all over the place. With a rifle, I mean, you're shooting
that's relative. I mean,
attack.
Well,
you could say a minute movement with a rifle at 100 yards. Will you notice it? Yeah, depending on how minute your movement
3 inches
is.
off
Sure,
center.
you could say the same thing with a bow. A minute movement at 10 yards. Are you gonna notice it? Depends on how minute. The further out you go, the more it becomes apparent.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't take a shot.
Which isn't very far with a
485
bow,
yards.
like you're saying. I mean, like,
to clarify the paper shooting thing.
Yeah.
I have shot 8 paintballs in a row at 200 yards with a rifle.
Yeah, I believe it.
My buddy's 280 Remington.
yeah, I remember
That
you
night
telling
for
that
scope.
story. Yeah.
That was an incredible day of shooting. So when I'm sitting there looking at a target, it's like, oh, that's just a target.
Yeah, but it's
totally
different.
different.
If you were to go run a mile and then try to do that,
That was a competition bench gun, wasn't it? And you were like,
Well, it wasn't a
well-rested
competition
and
gun. Yeah, it was on a bench, but
calm.
it wasn't like a competition gun. I mean, the guy had
Oh.
built it, you know.
Oh,
He's
okay.
just a regular dude.
Oh, see, when I
But-
listened to the podcast, that episode,
He shoots.
like it sounded like it was like
he shoots competitions.
bolted to the table,
Oh no, it was just
Like,
on.
it
It
was
was. I think it was on
lined
that rest.
up.
It was on that rest right there.
Oh,
That-
okay.
That's just a regular old
Yeah,
bench.
yeah, that's just regular old rest.
Yeah. So it's just sitting
Okay,
on that.
well, hey, good job.
Yeah. So
I don't know if I could do that.
I was shocked, but he had this awesome Night Force scope. I can't remember if it was 25 or 28 power.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could divide the paintball into 4 sections on the crosshair, and it looked like a beach ball.
Wow.
So when you're looking at this beach
That's
ball
super
in
zoom.
the scope, you're like,
I've only ever
I'm
had,
right on the middle of this thing. And he had the hand loads and everything. He had it dialed, trust me. But it was shocking to see, So, right circumstances with a gun. I mean, paper, I can shoot a paper. But if I had 25 guys in a competition, I would definitely probably choke
Okay.
just from pressure,
Yeah.
Oh man, they're gonna give me something's happening.
well, before we head forward with our podcast, we're going to hear from one of our industry partners. This section of the broadcast is brought to you by Burpaw, burpaw.com.
Use Ridge 15 at checkout to receive a sweet discount. An hour just flies by.
Yeah.
No, but hey, it does fly by. I want to make sure I touch on something real quick. I kind of talked to you a little bit about this earlier in the week. One of the chapters, for those of you that have read the book, for those of you who haven't, okay, there's a chapter called Death Valley. The individual in that book, his name is Nick.
Before we get into that,
Oh,
what is the title of the book?
Student of the Woods.
There we go.
Yeah.
We never actually touched on that.
Dang. I mean, I do have a
Student of the
couple.
Woods.
I do have a couple books out.
We got to work on our marketing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do. You'd think.
Well, if you follow us on Instagram, we are always posting, anything that Dustin puts out there.
This is awesome.
in our stories or whatnot. So if you follow us on Instagram or Facebook, we do share and post a lot of his stuff. So
I do
if
appreciate
you're not, please follow us on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm going to give a hot tip at the end of this podcast. I'm going to give a hot tip for the locals. If people locally here listening, then they're going to get a good tip if they like saltwater stuff. So
All right.
on to the book, Death Valley.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Death Valley. The chapter Death Valley. I think it's like chapter 16 or 17. Anyways, so Nick, Nick went hunting with me that first year.
Yes.
Right? And showed him the ropes, showed him how to find spots that might be good or whatever. What kind of sign to look for and things like this. The following year, he wasn't able to go hunting. He hurt his shoulder or whatever. Couldn't. He's a rifle hunter.
That's a devastating injury, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Totally.
Shoulder injuries are
Thankfully, my shoulder injury was to my bow arm, not my draw arm. So I can manage. But anyways, so he went out late season this year. Didn't go out early season. Went out late season with his rifle and tagged out. He filled his tag. So proud
Deer
of him.
tag, elk tag?
Yeah, he got a nice little 2-point, almost
Nice.
a 3-point. It's like it's just starting to split, on that.
Was it as big as that one?
Is a little bit bigger.
Damn.
Yeah. I'll show you a picture. It's really nice.
And a whopper.
But
That's like the top of 2 points right there, man. It doesn't get much bigger.
It's pretty close. I don't know. You should see my 2 points. My 2 points, nice.
I have a huge muley
Oh,
shed. I'll show you. It's a 2-point. It's
Hey.
huge.
World class 2-point hunter. This is no joke. Kirk Douglas shot a monster blacktail 2-point. Did you see that sucker?
They get
Oh.
big.
Dude,
Uh-uh.
this sucker was in regression, and he was probably 22
Was
inches.
this at Eric's place?
Yes, it was like 22
I
inches.
saw it.
It was like
Yeah.
22 inches wide, dude.
That's massive.
Yeah.
Freaking huge flathead dude is like,
Wow, that's a 2-point you could be proud of.
I think it was 3 on one side with a little 4th point, but you could tell he was on his way down. He was super old. But this sucker, biggest 2-point you ever seen in your life. I mean, the sucker was gigantic.
Yeah, you can kind of see on that first time.
You trying to compare that to mine?
No, you are. I'm not.
I was asking. You said it was probably bigger. I'm looking here. Shit.
It kind of is. I mean, look at it.
Yeah, it's still a good buck.
Yeah, it's a good buck. So
Yeah.
I showed my wife the photo, like, is laying in his driveway, and he's already been gutted, right? So he looks emaciated. We'll say he looks really skinny. My wife's like, "Well, he's not very big. Was that legal?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that was legal, babe."
Do you know how many of those I passed up?
Well, that's on the west side.
Probably
It's
a lot.
probably any buck.
0. I wouldn't pass up a shot on something like that. You crazy?
I know. Look at that. I wouldn't pass that up.
No.
So for blacktail, I've never even got close to anything like that.
What?
See all those little those spikes right there?
Yeah.
Mine are like half those size.
Really?
Oh, we should break the skull out. The new skull.
Oh my gosh. For blacktail, I usually shoot does.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're abundant.
We were. Were you with me when that guy shot that world class? I mean, this is another world record. World's smallest 3-point. Did you see that buck?
Mm-mm.
You
Did
guys
you just say smallest 3-point?
world's smallest 3-point. Yeah. So this guy, you guys remember those jacks you used to play with when you were a kid?
Yeah.
You'd bounce the ball, pick up the jacks.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not that old, but I
This
know what
little
they are.
sucker had
You're only a couple years back.
had a 3-point rack the size of one of those jacks.
That's not possible. They got to be at least an inch.
No, it wasn't a legal 3-point.
Okay.
It had it looked like you see the jackalope.
Yeah,
It looked like somebody had made and put on this thing. I couldn't believe it.
that's funny.
He shot it and thought it was a doe. He's like, man, I thought it was a doe because you
I
couldn't.
mean, it
even-
would be hard to see depending on the distance.
You couldn't see it. No, you couldn't see it from any distance. I mean, he showed me up close and he like spread the hair. He's like, check this out, and it was like
Oh wow!
it was got to be. It's probably 3/4 of an inch tall.
And it was
The whole
probably
3
18
points.
It was probably 18 months old or something like that. A year and a half.
Full of testosterone, man.
Yeah.
He was jacked. He never won a sparring fight though.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
that was amazing to see that.
I'll bet.
That was crazy. So they come in all sizes.
Yeah,
But
they do.
that's I wouldn't pass up a 2-point with my bow.
No, I was telling you.
Well, no, that one was splitting. That one is pretty
Yeah, it's
pretty
getting
close to a
it's-
3.
Yeah, it's getting there.
Got
Next,
a little
Yeah.
palmated on the front, you know.
Mhm.
yeah, it would have been there next year if you hadn't hit it.
So a lot of guys are always asking like, "Oh, is this a good size blacktail?" Blah blah blah. So a gentleman that won one of our
Prizes.
giveaways.
Yeah.
Yep, it was like our large elk giveaway. His name is Cameron.
Yeah.
He posted something on Washington State Hunters or something like that, and it was a photo. He has I would say a nice blacktail on one of his trail cams, and it's just funny how a lot of people are just, I don't know, just so
Snobs
opinion.
or something?
Yeah,
Hunt
yeah,
snobs?
yeah, kind of hunting snobs.
I would say opinionated.
Very opinionated, yeah. And I was like one of his first comments, I was like, man, that if that's something that you want,
Yeah.
I would say that's a nice blacktail.
How
You know,
many
and there
points
was-
it?
It was
No,
a
no,
it was
I
a
see the
it was a 3x3.
Oh, that's a nice
was-
buck.
I'll try. I'll
Especially
actually try
for
to find
like
it.
your first year
Yeah.
or any year. If
He's
I nailed the 3-point this year, I'd be
He's
proud
not
of that.
from here. He's from South Carolina.
Yeah.
So I mean, hunting blacktail is completely different than hunting anything else.
Right.
For us here in Washington, we're pretty fortunate. We have all 3 species here. We have 2 species of elk. We're pretty fortunate. He only got really
Whitetails.
hunted whitetail,
Yeah.
and that's it. So he
Probably
hasn't.
from a tree stand.
I think he usually would go off a ground blind, but
So
regardless,
over water or a feed.
yeah, regardless, he hasn't really hunted any of these animals, and to catch one on a trail cam, being in the right place at the right time and setting up properly.
Sure.
I mean, I give it out to him. A lot of guys can't even do that. So I mean, coming from a different side of the freaking state and being able to pick up on Western Washington blacktail hunting and putting the camera in a decent spot. I mean, I thought he did a
Yeah.
good job, and I thought it was a decent buck.
So since we're talking blacktails and books, a great book to check out if you want to hunt blacktails. Not saying it will make you successful, but I did read the entire book cover to cover. It's probably 140 pages of the easiest book to read you're ever going to read. Full of information. I went out the first day after reading that book and going hunting. So probably I tried to read it right before season. So I might have been done a week before season started. So I probably finished it in August. And I saw 18 blacktails just with my naked eye by looking in the places this book told me to look.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Was
So
it Cameron Haynes' book that he wrote?
no, it wasn't Cameron Haynes. It was
Okay.
Scott Haugen.
Scott Haugen.
Oh yeah,
So-
yeah.
Scott Haugen.
He's out of Oregon.
Yeah, Scott Haugen wrote this book called Hunting Trophy Blacktails or Trophy Blacktails, and I'll look it up just so I get the name right. But in the book, it shows you, it'll tell you specifically the areas. Like, here's where deer bed, because he has a PhD
Mhm.
in animal behavior.
Oh, okay.
So he studies all this stuff for all these years.
He's like a
and-
biologist for deer, specifically.
well, a bunch of other stuff too.
You know what, Dave? Let's save that for next time.
Oh,
Let me toss the name out there since I mentioned it, and then we'll get that.
you guys definitely need like a Jamie.
Yeah, so the book is called Trophy Blacktail Science of the Hunt by Scott Haugen. Yeah, so that's a good book. If you want to
Sounds like a
see the
good book.
spots, I mean, that's just specifically where to get them.
Yeah. Sure, I'm good.
What was the
Yep.
book called again?
It's called
Sorry.
it's called Trophy Blacktails: The Science of the Hunt by Scott
Oh
Haugen.
yeah, I've actually borrowed that from you.
Yeah, that came out in 2011. So super good book. But it just on how to find deer. If you're looking at blacktails and you're in Washington State, it'll help you pin them down just based on where to look.
Yeah.
Pretty resourceful in that fashion. That's all the book is about. How to find them.
Yeah.
And I was on their trail,
It's
man.
difficult.
Yeah,
Not easy.
yeah. They're like, they call them the ghosts of the woods.
Yeah.
So they get out there and they pretty much just disappear. It's amazing how they can just blend into a blackberry bush right in front of you. How many times have you been there and your buddy's like, look at that deer, and you're looking for 20 minutes? Where's it at? To the left of that little snag over there. See that deadfall over there right to the right? There's a little white thing. It's to the left of that white thing. You're like, oh shit, I can't see that.
That's just a rock outcropping.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's a stump.
That's a stump, bro.
Yeah.
But with that, thank you, Dustin, for coming in tonight. We're gonna call it a night, and you know what? Let's do another one.
A deuce.
Yeah, let's do
You want
do
me
a
to come
part 2.
drop a deuce?
Yeah, come back and do it again.
Hot tip. Let me give my hot tip.
Okay, go ahead. Hot tip.
So since we talk about hunting, fishing, and everything like that, if you're in the Puget Sound region and you're into crabbing, right now Marine Area 11 is on fire. So if you can get out there,
And you're looking for crabs.
we literally caught a dungeness.
Not the ones in your pants.
We caught a dungeness the other day, bigger than the rack you used to measure them.
What?
Yeah, it was like 7 1/4,
Wow.
big old male. And then
Sounds tasty.
red rocks off the scale. we brought in over 100 in 2 hours,
Wow.
and so many soft
Was that
shells.
in that video you showed me earlier?
Yeah, we were pulling in like 8 per ring. Like as we would pull the ring, there'd be 8 in there.
Yeah.
I haven't made my compilation video yet, but all you're gonna see is just crabs hitting the deck. You're gonna be like, damn, we've never had a day like that. So in a couple weeks, those soft shells we were
What
pulling,
is today? What's today's date? The 23rd. So we are the day before Thanksgiving, folks.
day before
Yeah,
Thanksgiving right now.
Day before. Yep.
So about the 20th, they were a lot of soft
This
shells.
is going to come out Friday.
Yeah, so 75 out of 100 that we pulled
Mhm.
were soft shelled.
Was
And-
that? I'm sorry. What does that mean?
That means that they
Uh,
just shed their.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they just
Got
got
it.
new shells and their meat's not fully developed.
Got it.
Once their shells are hard in a couple weeks,
Yeah.
it's gonna be gangbusters. So
Got it.
if you got time, get out, spend a couple hours, and get a
How
good
long,
meal.
how long do these listeners have that do crab? How long do they have until it closes?
You know, I don't know because I usually look, but I didn't even know it was going to open because they haven't opened a late season in probably 7 years. This is the first time in 7 years they've had a late crab season in Puget Sound. So get off your couch. If it's going to be crappy weather, probably.
Hey, you know what? You can't do anything from the couch, so you got to get out and
I'll tell you what you can do.
enjoy it.
Drop your pot, go sit in your car, come back and pull the pot. You'll
Can't do that.
You can do that. Yeah, that's a good thing about crabbing. You can do that.
you can leave them soaking.
That's right.
All right,
All right, everybody.
left you with a good one.
Yep. Have a good night. Dustin, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks a lot.
All right, everybody. That's it.
We should do a refresher.
Oh yeah, we're gonna freshen up this.
Oh, we're doing a second number.
Yeah, man. Why
Oh, that's
not?
what- I thought
You
were
gotta
saying
work.
I thought you were saying I have to take a shit now.
No. I gotta take a deuce. Oh.
I thought you said- I was like, I gotta take a shit now. I got to go. I was like,
Oh, that's funny.
you started talking about taking shits. I was like,